Hey everybody, following weekend, just about to install that extra socket that I wanted in my bedroom, and then the fuse spur for the security light. So I'm going to drill down the back of the skirting board in the bedroom to get into this void. So you should always check below flooring if you can before you start drilling, because on mine I do actually have the gas pipe right here, but underneath the floorboard is okay. I think that one right at the back there, I think that was probably an old gas pipe, possibly for when we used to have fires in the bedroom. I know this is the new one going to the combi boiler. Right, let's get on with it. Just enlarge that hole a bit. Just try and see where that's come through. You'll see down here, but you can just see where that's sticking through the floor. Don't know if I'm spotting that one up, but I can see where it's come through, so I'll stuff my cable up there. Alright guys, got the cable through now, messing about, didn't quite have a drill bit big enough, so I had to go raid the outhouse. I knew I had a slightly bigger one somewhere, so after a bit of hunting, found one big enough to get the cable through. So I'm going to mount the box just on the wall here now, obviously. I did pick up some trunking, I bloody left it at work, so I'll have to do the trunking, a little bit of trunking at a later date just to cover the cable up, but that'll be easy enough to sort that out at a later date. Well, Monday when I go back to work and get it. So we'll get this box on. Can't find my little spigot level, so I can give that a little adjustment after. I've been doing some work at my daughter's place, so I think I might have left it over there, but again, easy to sort out. You've got a bit of adjustment on the box, so I'll just find a couple of screws and get that on. I've got the two cables through. That's a feed from the consumer unit, and this will be the one that will go off to the fuse spur. Bloody little clip in the way. Wondered what was going on then. Be good about that. bit more. One to the left will be the fuse spur. Best when you're doing things like this is not to have too much of the outer grey in the actual box, because then it makes it hard to manipulate the wires to where you want them because of the tension behind the insulation. Where you break them into the inner cables, then you can manipulate them into the box so it will sit nicely. Right, I'll just frame that's getting these terminated. Guys, I'm not being very organised today. Can't find me earth wire sleeving, which is weird as I only used it last week. So knowing me, I'll put it somewhere really stupid. So I'm going to leave hooking that up because I'll just have to take it back off to do the sleeving. So I'll grab a bit of that from work tomorrow. We've got plenty at work. Or I'll find my own no doubt at some stupid point. So I've lifted the floorboards up rather than running the trunking around the wall, because I thought my floorboards had been up before when my central heating was put in, which obviously is. There's the pipes for the central heating. So I'll get the hole drilled down the back of the skirting board again. I'll get the wire over to here. Then I'll leave it at that. I'll grab the trunking, so I'll do the little bit of trunking on that tomorrow and a little bit on there. I was going to drill through the wall, but I don't actually. The only long drill I've got is a bit thicker than I really want to go, because I'm only going to use the 1.5 lighting cable, which is considerably thinner. Got it here actually, which is quite a bit thinner than the 2.5 twin and a half. So I don't want to do a really big hole if I don't need to. So again, I'll borrow a drill from work tomorrow. We've got plenty of STS drill bits at work. So I shall drill this. I'll get the cable over. I'll get the flooring back down. And then tomorrow it'll just be connect that up, drill through the wall, put the waterproof junction box on the wall outside, and then it'll just be put the light up. So we're getting there slowly but surely. Another hole done. Just have a feel under the floorboards. Yep, I can feel where that's going. Okay guys, gonna call it a day for now. Should have started the job early in the day, but I have a nasty tendency of doing that for some reason. I know I'm planning on doing something through the day, and I'll faff about, watch a bit of TV, always knowing I'm going to start it, and end up starting later on in the day. Probably start the job when I should be finishing it, but I'll get there in the end. So I would have had that connected up, but so I haven't. I'll find this leaving 5 minutes after I wrap everything up a bit. So that's an easy, just feed from the consumer unit, then the cable coming along here, under the floor now, popping up where the fuse spur will be. So tomorrow it'll be drilled through the hole, drill a hole through the wall. I have a little whisker, IP rated, I think that's 65 or 67 IP rating, so that's nice and compact. That'll go in the wall, and then the floodlight will be a little bit above it. So these are good, got like canal rubber seals in them. You can just punch a little hole, pinprick through that and then push your cable through, or you can put proper stuffing glands in them, which I did buy some, but I think I might just do that actually. Get the stuffing gland, ends up popping down here somewhere, ends up making about twice the size, which you do get bigger version of these, which I was going to use, and I thought, well, get away with a little compact one. It's only going to be like thin cables in there. So I think I'll just punch in the bottom, stuff the wire up through there. But I shall finish the job off tomorrow and get the video uploaded. So filming in my usual haphazard way, but I get there. Catch you later. Me again the following day. So I've just got back from work, so swiped a little bit of sleeving from work. But funnily enough, I did find mine last night, like I said, 5 minutes after I finished working. But I've got some thinner stuff that looks a bit neater. You go, forget what size this is, but you go for, I think this is only like 2mm or something, if that. So it looks a bit tidier than the other stuff. It's not so loose fitting. Right, we'll get this terminated and we'll get this job finished off today. So I'm sure you've probably all seen videos on connecting sockets up. So not too complicated. If you can do a plug, you should be able to do this. A little bit harder, obviously, manipulating 2 sets of wires, but not too difficult on the whole. So they're always marked up, obviously live, neutral and earth. Normally on quite small writing, but you can normally make it out. So a little bit harder doing these because you obviously have to manipulate the wires as best you can to get them where you want them. But a little bit of gentle persuasion. Maybe that's coming over on that one. So when you're doing these, it's best to not have that thick outer case insulation too much in the box, because it makes that a little bit harder to manipulate the wires to where you want them to go to. So keep the grey down to a minimum. can if you want to. I haven't bothered this time around, but you can bend your wire over, means that's in there on its own, just to make it a bit bigger area for the screw to bite down on. But as long as you check it and make sure you're good and tight, not a problem. Maybe I've done my slipping a little bit more of the grey off just to give me a little bit more play on these wires, but I should be able to get it in there. So you've got a good solid connection on these. And best thing to do is think about how your socket's going to push back and try and manipulate the wires to go where you want them to go to. Rather than just pushing back. Feeling too bad. And once you've got them roughly how you know they've got to go, just tease it back out a little bit. Just double check that them wires are not going to work loose. Last little nip up just to be sure, because sometimes they can loosen a little bit as you're putting tension on the wire. Yep, they're all solid enough. Screws. Oh. Fiddly suckers. Do these up evenly bit by bit. Just take the strain off. It's all on, looking good. Gonna drill through this wall, then I think I'll go outside, get the little box, air junction box on the wall, which I probably won't film, obviously a bit tricky up a ladder, and then it's the 13 amp fuse spur on here. And here's the little floodlight. Nice and compact. And I say I'll just put a 3 amp fuse on this, being it's a low powered light. Good way to find out what size fuse to put in any household item, because everybody tends to chuck a 13 amp in there, which quite often you don't need a 13 amp, so you're better having the smaller fuse if that's all it needs to be safer for the piece of equipment not to become damaged. So I did a pat testing course a few years ago at work. One useful thing we learnt on that, to work out what size fuse to put in an item. If you look on the back of an item, it always tells you what the power is in watts. Whatever it is, divide it by 230 and it will give you the proper fuse rating. It might be something like 4, and it'd be point, might be a load of numbers after the point, but all you need is the first number basically. So it'd be like 5 point, and then literally it could be like about 5 other little numbers after that. But if it's a 4, then you go to the next size up, so you go a 5 amp. If it was 7, there's no 7 amp fuses, so you go to the next size up. So a lot of small items actually only need 3 to 5 amp fuses, but most people just, for some reason, I've done it myself over the years, you just tend to grab a 13 amp for some reason. So that's a useful little tip. Right, I'll get this hole drilled and we'll go from there. Yeah, I'm back again. So we're on the home straight now. Just got this fuse spur to wire up and job is complete. The light's up on the wall and wired outside. So this is the cable coming from the floodlight and this is the one coming from the consumer unit. So these fuse spurs, you probably won't be able to make it out on the camera, but on some of the connection points it says load. Now if you see that on a switch, that's referring to the thing you're actually looking to power up, i.e. in this case the floodlight. So the wires on the load side are from the item you're powering up. So if you did it in reverse, it would still work. I think it'd just be a case of when the switch is supposed to be in the off position, the thing would be powered up, and when you turn the switch on, it would go off. So the main thing you got to watch is you don't mix up a wire from the 2 different strands. Like if you just got one wire wrong, apart from the earth, but if you got the neutral there live wrong, then the thing wouldn't work. So in this case, we've got on the load, the outer connection is the neutral. This is the live, and then you've got 2 earth points here, and then the ones coming from the consumer unit are the inner one, the middle one, that's your live, that's your neutral down there, and again 2 earth bars here. So I'll put you on a time lapse It's always a little fiddle like, just bending the wires into place and getting sorted out. So you see me do the socket, it'll just be the same thing again. That's right, back in a bit. So I'll give you a quick look at the floodlight. Compact little thing, but it's nice and bright. Right everybody, right, job completed, just finished doing that fuse spur. Socket is obviously all good to go. So, moment of truth, power it up and see if everything's okay, or do we go bang? I always can't help thinking that, as confident as I am that I've done things right, there's always a little bit at the back of your mind thinking, is it gonna go bang? But it never has so far, but you just can't help thinking it. Right. Don't know what this job would have cost if you called a spark in, but I imagine it would have been a reasonable amount to come fit that, have your floorboards up and all that. I think you'd in part with a couple £100, I would have thought. Could be wrong, but I would think so. Anyway, here goes. No bang, that's promising. I've left the spur off to the light so I can turn the lights off and look out the window when I turn that on to see the light comes on okay. I've got a socket tester, so I'll have a quick test if the socket's showing okay. So, don't really see this particular one, but 2 green lights is everything okay on this particular one. You get loads of these different ones and they'll all have a different combination for different things, but on this one, 2 green lights, your left and the middle one is saying everything's good. So hopefully it works. Yep. Always best to check too. All good. Right. Things are looking promising. So I left that turned off, so we'll have a peek at it out the window. See how bright this is. Assuming it works, that is. So you can see how dark it normally is out here. Just about, mate. It's not quite as, it looks darker on the phone actually than what it is. It's not crazy dark. I've actually got a street light straight across the road from me, so it's not crazy dark, but so camera's making it look worse. So let's turn this on. I Again, the camera's not doing it justice. That lights my driveway up nicely. So if someone was out there fiddling with my car, I think they'd be doing a running out. So yeah, this phone camera's not really doing that justice. Looks darker than it actually is, and then obviously then when the light comes on, it doesn't look like it's lighting up as much as it is. But for a little 10-watt compact floodlight, that is actually plenty bright enough. As I said earlier on, I was humming and ahhing about whether to go for a 20-watt, because we've got some at work which must be less than that, or it's just because it's the older ones, it's the ones that aren't so compact. So maybe it's just old technology, and probably only half as bright as that one I've just installed. So I'm glad I didn't go for the 20-watt, because that would have been like way too much over there. It would have been lighting up the bungalows over the other side of the road. So all I'm left to do is fine tune where that's shining, and tomorrow when it starts getting dark, I'll get out there and I'll see how sensitive the sensor is. I don't want it going off with every car that passes, or people bloody walking on the other side of the road. So I'll do a bit of fine tuning of it tomorrow and get it pointing, so it maybe just about to hit the start of the driveway, it maybe kicks in. So I hope this video has been of some use. Share as you can do this. It's the first time I've messed about in a consumer unit. So there's always a word of caution when it comes to things like that. But I would say not something to do straight off the bat. You've done a few things over the years and you feel you're confident to do it, then at the end of the day it's not that complicated. Just make sure all your cables and things are all connected up. And I say always, like, after you've pushed your sockets and things back, after you've got all your wires in, just get them so they're all kind of relaxed and you've got them where the lid's gonna shut. Okay, it's always worth just easing it back out just a touch and having a final little pull on the wires just to make sure that they are all okay. So that's it. Till the next time, whatever I decide to get up to. Take care.